afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another TMDSES Office Hours. My name is Selima Melendez, and I'm a Communication Specialist with TMDSES. And today we have our applicant liaison, Brianna Beats. So she will be joining us for today's session to talk about AP credits, dual credits, and how to enter those into the application. So we'll hit up a couple of examples from screenshots that we've had. We'll put them into the application so you can see what that looks like. And if you do have any questions, you can enter them into the chat and we'll answer those at the end of the mini session that we have here with entering these credits. And then if you don't have time to watch this, you can always rewatch it at a later time or listen at a later time. We do have this available on the YouTube channel as a recording, and then you can always listen to it on the podcast as well. So we'll go ahead and get started with the presentation that we have, and we'll go to the next slide. And this is just we have a couple of bullet points that we want to touch base on. One is AP credit being entered as, when it appears as a lump sum AP credit that has limited course information, such as maybe it doesn't have a prefix or it doesn't have a course number. The third scenario that we see is AP credit having to retake it at your main institution, how to enter that, and when it should be yes or no for last time taken. The fourth scenario is AP credit listed under the summer term when you begin your main institution in the fall term. And then the fifth scenario is AP credit listed on community college and on your main institution transcript. And then we'll also touch base on dual credit. In this case, dual credit is listed differently on your community college transcript and on the main institution. So we'll go ahead and get started. Number one is AP credit listed as a lump sum. And what that means is if you can look at the example on the right-hand side, typically lump sum credit is entered or seen on UC transcripts. In this case, we have the UCLA transcript, and it lists transfer exam credit, 30 hours. So it doesn't have a course breakdown. We don't have a prefix. We don't have a course number. We don't have a course title. It only shows it as cumulative credit hours accumulated. So in this case, you'll have to request an official letter from your school's registrar's office that provides a course breakdown of each AP credit that you have. So each course would be a prefix, a number, course name, credit hours, etc. And then you can have that email to info@tmdses.com. If you do already know what those course breakdowns are, you can go ahead and enter it into your application, or you can request a copy of this letter for yourself as well, so you can enter this information in your application. But if you do not have this information or breakdown available to you, you may leave it off, and the AP credit will be added once we receive that official letter from the registrar's office in the email. A team member approves it and will manually enter it for you. And so again, just if you see this on the right-hand side on your transcript, that just means that you do not have a course breakdown, and you'll need to get that official letter from your school's registrar's office to be able to plug it into your application.
And just to follow up on that just a little bit, on our end, when we are processing applications, if we do see that lump sum credit, we do have to delete that entry and reach out to you. So just so y'all know, that would be removed from the application. We can't have that lump sum listed there.
Yeah, and I think it's a little hard to put 30 hours, and I think you'll get an error message as well. So just be mindful of that. And then we have a second scenario for AP credit when there's limited course information. So in this case, sometimes it's a missing prefix, a missing course number. So in this case, we recommend that you enter a generic information for the course unless you want your AP credit to count as a prerequisite. So if you take this example located on the right-hand side, as you can see, this transcript lists all the AP credits. There seems to be a prefix for most of these courses, as you can see, psych, chem, bio. It has a description which looks like a course title. Earned, this looks like the credit hours, but it doesn't have the grade, it doesn't have a course number. So we'll go ahead and take this example and enter it into the application that I have. So we'll enter AP Bio 5.3. The credit hour seems a little small, but we'll go ahead and say it's 5.3. I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like when you're enter your application. So as you can see here, my school that I went to is Texas Tech. So I'll go ahead and click Save and Continue. I added the information. We'll go ahead and say no for this one, and then just save and continue. Okay. Okay, so here we are in terms attended. And as you can see, I have my attendance dates from fall 18 to spring 2022. And so you'll click on Add Term button to be able to add the term. Remember, you have to add in every single term that you attended at this school. So in my case, Texas Tech, we'll start with the first term, which is fall 2018. And my school used semester hours, so we'll go ahead and do that. Click on Add Term, and now the term is added. So for this example, I'll just go ahead and click Save, and we'll move on to the next portion, so that way I can go ahead and add my AP credits. And I'll click on Add Course. So as y'all remember, this was an AP credit. All AP credits need to be listed as pre-freshman. The course type, we'll say it's an AP credit because, again, not only does my transcript say it, but I know that I took this in high school and it was AP. So it'll be AP for course type. The prefix, we did have a vial with the L, so we'll go ahead and enter that exactly as it appears on the transcript. Sometimes if the transcript doesn't have the prefix, then you can just put in a generic one. So in this example, if I didn't have any prefix for any of the courses that I have listed, I could enter AP. And in this case, this class that I want to enter is AP Biology. So I would enter Bio for the prefix. The course number will be generic because we don't have an actual course number. So we'll go ahead and do the best we can by entering a generic number. The course name was AP Bio. Course area, because it doesn't have an actual course breakdown, we'll go ahead and do other science. All AP credit needs to be listed with the grade of credit, so CR. And I believe it was 5.3. That was the course numbers. Okay. The credit hours was 5.3. And this was the last time taken because it doesn't appear anywhere else on my transcript, nor do I have a course equivalent from my institution listed anywhere else on the transcript. So I'll go ahead and list yes for last time taken and add the course. And that is how you enter your AP credits when you don't have a prefix number or course number. You just enter the generic information, and then it'll be either other science or non-science, depending on what your AP credit was. So I think in this case we are done. We can move on to the next example. So AP credit, when we have to retake it again at our institution, whether we have to retake it just because our school tells us, or our school says, okay, you have AP credit, but you still have to take the course at the institution. So as you can see in this example from Tech, it is listed twice. So you have Math 2300, and you have, it's just their AP, and then Math 2300 listed again, and there's an actual grade for the course. So that means that I received the AP credit because it's appearing on my transcript. So therefore, I have to enter exactly as it appears on the transcript. But two, as you can see, I had to take it again, take it at my institution. So it's listed for a second time. Both attempts need to be listed in your application because, as you can see on my transcript, it's on there twice. So we'll go ahead and list the AP credit. Okay, so it's 3 credit hours. I'll go ahead and switch it back to my application. Add another course for the term. And remember, AP credit all needs to be pre-freshman. So we'll do that. Course type, AP credit, prefix. I believe that was math.
Yep, MATH math.
Okay. Course number 2300. And title, it can be a shorter version of that.
Statistical methods.
Statistical. Okay. Course area, since it's not a prerequisite, we'll go ahead and list it as math. And a grade of credit. Remember, AP credits all need to have a grade of a CR for credit. Credit hours was 3. Last time taken, no. Last time taken is no because, as you saw in my transcript, it was listed twice and I had to take it at my institution again. So I'll do no, add course, add another.
And I did just want to point out that Math 2300 at Texas Tech would satisfy the stats requirement.
Oh, okay. Let me go ahead and fix that one. So click edit. So it would be statistics?
Yes.
Okay. So I actually didn't look at the course listing for that one. You guys should do that. And so you would have caught that on earlier than I did. So that is the proper way to enter it. Click done. And then I'll add a course because I have to add that second attempt. This one is, so this one, since I took it at my institution, would this be pre-freshman or freshman?
So if it's under that first fall semester, it would be freshman.
Okay. And that's because I took it at the institution, correct?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so this one would be regular course because I took it as a regular course at my institution. Prefix math, course number 2300. Statistical methods. Course area would be statistics. Grade, I think it was an A.
A plus.
A plus, okay. And not all transcripts have the plus or minus system, so just enter it exactly as it appears on your transcript. As you saw on my tech transcript, I have A and I have A plus. So if it says A plus, the grade will be A plus. Credit hours is 3, and this one would be yes to last time taken because this is the last time I took it at my institution. And that is how you enter the AP credit when it's listed twice on your transcript. You have your AP and you have your regular course. All right, and moving on to the next scenario that we have, AP credit is listed under the summer term when I started in the fall term. So rule of thumb is all AP credit needs to be listed under the first fall term at your main institution. So as you saw at Tech, I attended from fall 18 to spring 2022. My AP credit needs to be listed. Even if my AP credit was listed under summer 2018, I need to list it under the fall 2018 term because that's the first term that I started Texas Tech. So this is a case, all cases for AP credit, and also for cases when you don't have a clear defined term under where your AP credit is listed. So some transcripts will just have the AP credits listed off right off the bat, and then they'll start mentioning the courses that you took in your first fall term. So your AP credit in that case wouldn't have a defined term, but in that scenario, you'll just go ahead and just list it under the fall 2018 term. The only exception when I've seen a couple of transcripts is whenever you claim the AP credit later. Once you've already started your institution, you claim it a couple of semester or terms later. So in this example, you started in fall 18 through spring 2022, but your AP credit is listed under spring 2022, so your sophomore year. And that is how it's listed on your transcript. In that case, you can go ahead and list it under that term, but remember that because it's AP credit, it still has to have the AP and pre-freshman designations. And we'll go ahead and move on to the fifth scenario. So AP credits listed under a community college and a main institution transcript. So in this case, you can choose either or to list it under either the community college or the main institution. Whichever one you choose to use, just make sure that you use the school's corresponding transcript to enter the credit. So if I want to, let's say I want to use the community college transcript and the way it's listed, my AP credits are listed on that transcript. So I will still use that community college transcript to see how the course is listed, enter it exactly as it appears on that transcript, if that's the school that I want to list it under. But either way, it doesn't matter. You can choose either or. Just make sure that you only enter your AP credit once. And then a typical question that we get is for dual credit. So this is when credits are listed on the community college but they're also listed on the main institution. And dual credits are a little bit different than AP credits, which was what we just talked about. So dual credits, you took those in high school, and a community college granted you that credit. That's where you took the class, whether at my high school, we had the professors come to our high school. We had a special lecture hall where we had our dual credit courses hosted, and so even though it was hosted in my high school, we did have the professor from our local community college come and teach the class. So in this case, use a community college transcript, not your main institution. Again, the community college granted you the credit, not your main institution. And the way that you can know that is a fact is because on your main institution transcript, typically lists all these dual credit courses as transfer credit. So if you see that, that's a red flag. Go to your community college transcript and use what's listed on there. And you'll also need to list a community college as a college attended. So as you saw, I had Texas Tech. I would need to go back in there and add my local community college on there as a school that I attended as well. You'll enter the course exactly as it appears on the community college transcript, and you'll use pre-freshman and dual credit designations. Otherwise, you may encounter course deficiencies for entering dual credit courses incorrectly. And I'm just speaking from experience. In past cycles, I've seen applicants, um, they are about to matriculate, and this is about March or April, and they get a notice from their matriculating school that they are deficient in this case, let's say it's statistics. They are deficient, and they know for a fact that they took it as a dual credit course, and they know it's listed on their application, but they don't know why it is showing up as a deficient. So when we go into the application, we see that the dual credit course was listed as it appears on their main institution's transcript, so that course number is different, and so it's not showing up as a prerequisite. And the reason for that is because they didn't enter it as it appeared on their community college transcript, which, as you can see in our course listings, we do have a Texas Community College course listing page, and that statistics course was listed on there. So if they had followed what's on their transcript, they wouldn't have encountered this deficiency or this scare right before they matriculate. So it's always important to follow along with the information that we provide here to make sure you're entering it accurately. And if not, and if you left it off or you entered it incorrectly, that you catch this immediately once your application is transmitted. I typically tell applicants, you know your application is transmitted if you received a message from an applicant liaison, such as Brianna, and it tells you, congratulations, your application has been transmitted. Take a look at these next steps, including your PCR. That's typically where you can catch these mistakes.
And just to add on that, usually another, as you said, red flag or sign that something isn't right when you're entering that course is that it'll say transfer course in the course title. So anything from your main institution that says transfer, you can assume that that course has come from a transfer credit from somewhere else, like a community college.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so typically, just if any takeaways that you can take from this is one, if you took dual credit in high school, look at the community college transcript. Only focus on that one. Don't even look at the main institution. It doesn't matter if it's listed on there. Only focus on what's listed on the community college transcript. But I believe that is it. That is all we have at the moment. Yeah, that is all we have. If you guys have any questions, we can stick around for a few more minutes, just to while we get people to go ahead and enter their questions into the chat. I do see a question from John. We'll go ahead and show it. How long does a PCR take after application submission? Also, if we find out that some of our classes aren't accepted, can we update our planned courses? Brianna?
Yeah, that's a great question. So once you submit your application, you're seeing the PCR as you've entered your courses. So only once your application liaison reaches out to you to say your application has been transmitted, that means that we've gone through and verified your coursework. So if any of those course codings have changed or anything on the PCR has changed, that's in that welcome message. We tell you to go look at the PCR at that time. So once your application is transmitted, you've gotten that welcome message from us. That's when you need to go look at your PCR. And so if you find out that you do have some deficiencies because, let's say, for example, your statistics course wasn't on the approved list of courses, and so it was coded as math or other science instead of statistics, and say you want to then work into your planned coursework, say you're taking courses in fall of 2022, and so you decide to take a statistics course that is approved on our listings. Yes, you can always update your planned coursework. You just have to reach out to us in the IMs, in the instant messaging portion of the application portal. Or if you're adding a semester, you should be able to just go into your application, even if it's been transmitted, and add another term at your institution and input your planned coursework.
Thank you, Brianna, for that explanation. Since we've already had a couple of applications transmitted, and we're talking here about the PCR, I'll go ahead and show an example of what that looks like really quick. So I'll go ahead and just hide the question and show my screen. So as you can see here, let me zoom in. Oh, okay. So this is an example of what a PCR page looks like. PCR stands for the Prescribed Coursework Report. And so as you can see here, there are a few areas to take a note. So here is what a deficiency looks like. Well, right here on the statistics prerequisite course area, it says that I am deficient 3 hours. So as Brianna mentioned, this could be that one example when you either one, it wasn't an approved prerequisite, so therefore it's not going to be listed on there and it's going to show up as 3 hours deficient. Don't freak out when you see this initially. When you see this and you know that you took a statistics course, you can go ahead and submit a course appeal, or if you had any questions about it, you can go ahead and hit reply on the message, so the liaison can get back to you and provide any explanation if needed, or kind of guide you with how to submit a course appeal. And actually, you can see here, for example, how to read the PCR for biology. Here it has the 4 hours broken down by 3 hours of lecture, one of lab, grade of A, freshman, regular course, last time taken, no, and then the second time is listed right beneath that. And another time whenever you can see a deficiency sometimes is whenever it's an NY. And let's say I'm taking this biochem course fall 2022. So I haven't yet completed the course. I don't have a grade for it just yet. And so therefore it's going to show up as an NY. But once that grade is inputted, after I update my application at the end of the fall term, so in December, I go in and enter I made a B. It'll show up on the PCR and it'll resolve that deficiency. So if you see that NY and that deficiency, that could be why.
And of course, if there is not, if you're looking to see which of your courses meet the prescribed coursework definitions, you're going to want to use the application guide under the coursework section of the application guide. And maybe if you can, Zulema, drop it in the chat, because I can't for some reason. But yeah, if you're going to because we've gone with the example of statistics, so if you are curious whether your statistics course is going to meet the requirements or not, if you're looking at those prescribed coursework definitions and you scroll down to statistics, there are some topics that must be covered within that course for it to be accepted. And so then it gives you a better idea of how you should be coding those courses or which courses will meet those prescribed coursework areas.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and show what that looks like as well. So on the coursework page, I click on, as you can see on the right-hand side, prescribed coursework definitions. I expand the box, and it gives me the definitions for all prerequisites. Biology, chemistry, organic chemistry, for example, in this case, biochemistry. These topics must be covered in the course for it to be approved. So if you don't see your course listed in the course listings page, or your institution doesn't have a page of course listings, it's okay. Just use what's on here for the definitions. And I checked my course and it covers these topics. It would be safe to go ahead and just code it as a biochem prereq. And just be mindful that you can do your best with this and just enter the coding as you see fit with your courses. You won't be penalized. It's not the end of the world if you are using your best judgment to enter these codings. So once you submit your application during the processing stage, our liaisons already go ahead and check your work to make sure everything is entered correctly. So it's already part of the process. It's not going to delay your application any further if you use your best judgment and do the best you can to enter these course codings. I'll go ahead and enter the link to the course listings that you can use to refer to as well. And how you use a course listing is by looking up the schools that you have attended to see if those courses that you've taken have already been approved to meet the prerequisites. So let's take, for instance, a community college. Let's say I attended San Jacinto Community College. So that's typically all community colleges in Texas use the same numbering system. So they're all going to be listed under, as you can see here, all community colleges in Texas will be found under one listing called Texas Community Colleges. So we'll go to the letter T, Texas Community Colleges. And these are the prereqs that have been approved in the past to satisfy this prerequisite. So you can also use this as a guide when entering your dual credit courses. As you can see here, let's say, for example, Bio 1106. If I have that on my transcript, I can go ahead and enter it as bio lecture. All right, let me check and see if we have any other questions. If you have any questions, now is the time. Go ahead and enter them to the chat. Again, we'll be here just for a few more minutes. This session is a little bit short since it's about AP credits and dual credit courses. If you have your official transcript by hand, go ahead and take a look at that. See if there's anything that looks a little odd, or if you want to ask a question about it, now would be the time because we would be able to address that now with you guys.
And Sulema, what should they do if they're watching this a little later on and a question comes up that maybe we didn't get to?
Definitely. So reach out to us in the IMs in your application portal. And that is the best way to communicate with Team DSES now that you are a current applicant. So it helps because we, one, get your message, and we click on your message, we are able to then see your application as well. So if you have a specific question about if you an AP credit or anything else in your application when you're working on it, we can actually go to your application and take a look at what you've done so far and be able to help you out a lot quicker than if you send it by email. So email, we don't encourage you to send your inquiries or questions in via email. We do leave that email inbox for prospective applicants who haven't started or students who haven't started an application just yet, or any other inquiries. But as a current applicant, the best form of communication is via the IMs. Let me go ahead and show you where that's at as well, because sometimes it can be confusing and unfamiliar if this is the first time that you're using that application. So I'll go back to my portal. As you can see at the top right here on the right-hand corner, I have my name, my ID number. So anytime you have a question and you need quick access to your application, this is your ID number. And then right here underneath that, it says send a message to TMDSAS. That also serves as an inbox, so it'll show you here if you have any unread messages. For example, that message from your liaison once your application has been transmitted, it'll say 1 if you haven't seen your messages. So you can click on that, and then you can create a new message or send a message. And it's okay if it's addressed to TMDSAS admin, depending on the type of question that I have. Let's say it's about coursework. I will go ahead and use coursework, type in AP credit, and then write my message in there, and then click send. So it's really easy. It'll be, again, on the right-hand side of your Team DSAS application portal.
So it looks like we did get one more question coming in, if we could share that.
Absolutely.
So I can go ahead and take this one.
Yeah.
So if you're selecting just one school that you're applying to at the time that you submit your application, and then you want to add other schools later, would that take extra time to be transmitted? So what would happen there is it would not necessarily take any time to be extra time to be transmitted. What would happen is you would just need to reach out to us in through the VIMs, just like we just saw there in the portal, and you would just request the school that you'd like to add, and then just keep in mind that as far as when your liaison can get back to you with messages, it could take 1 to 2 days to get back to you, but we would confirm that we've added that school, and then have you verify and look over it for accuracy. But as soon as we add that school, then your application is transmitted to them. There isn't any extra time there to really account for, except just when we're able to get through to your messages because we have a higher volume right now.
Yes. So just as Brianna mentioned, it's 1 to 2. I like to emphasize business days because we are not open. We don't work on the weekends. And so if you send your message on Friday afternoon, it'll take about 1 to 2 business days. So probably get back to you sometime around between Monday and Tuesday of the following week. And then just be mindful that right now we do have a large volume of those messages coming in. So it might take a little bit longer, but fear not, our team is on it and getting through messages. And we will get to it. So just be patient. We do get through those messages, and we will be addressing your questions. So if you can just be mindful of that as well. Again, if you have any questions, go ahead and enter them into the chat now. I think we'll stick around just for a few more minutes. Anything else that you can think of, Brianna, that we should probably link and drop a link to in the chat, or any other things to mention?
Just as long as they're going through the application guide, especially when it comes to coursework and going through all of the information there, that's the best course of action.
Correct. And also, I did want to mention that in the coursework section, if you click on as you saw on the right-hand side, we did have all the different links to those accordions. There is one for coursework FAQs. And if you have a question, I recommend taking a look at that because we do have a lot. I don't even know how many FAQs are listed on that page, but there is quite a few. And a lot of them are the very common questions that we get, for example, about winter terms, uh, the primary major and secondary major, and entering that in the application. When you have a repeated course, how to enter that. So it's definitely a good resource to take a look at um, for any questions that you may have. Take a look at that and see if it's already been addressed.
And there's also this great article, Putting the AP in Your Application, if we wanted to drop a link to that. It's a handy article to help alleviate some of that guesswork when it comes to looking at your AP courses.
Yeah, so we do have a lot of resources. Not only do we have the application guide, we also have this article about putting your AP courses in your application. We now have this office hour and time for you guys to ask questions. And it's AP credit's going to look a little bit different on a variety of transcripts. So even though there are maybe if the example that we provided doesn't look exactly like yours, maybe some of those components you can take away from and apply it to your transcript. So just again, use your best judgment with that, and do your best. You're not going to be penalized with entering your courses incorrectly. There are ways to catch those and to be able to fix those correctly as soon as you realize there might be a mistake. If it's caught on early, it's not a big deal, and we will work with you. If there needs to be a course appeal submitted, then we can help you with that as well. But just do your best right now as you're entering that information in your application before you hit submit. And don't worry, we will work with you, and there are resources that you can take a look at for help with that as well. So I'll go ahead and just wait like 1 or 2 more minutes if we have any other questions. If not, we'll go ahead and just wrap up this session a little bit early. And let me go ahead and list the link to the office hours just so you can have it as a reference. We'll post the office hours that have been we've already done in the past. In the past, we already talked about things to look out for when you are about to submit. I know we already had the submission date passed, but we still have applicants who are working through that. So I'll go ahead and link to that page so you can just have it as a reference and see when the upcoming office hours are. Okay, so I don't see any other questions. Like we mentioned, if you have any questions, if you're watching this at a later time, you can go ahead and send us a message in your portal, and we'll get to that and be able to help you with that. Um, and yeah, if you know anyone else is also working on their application, let them know about the office hours hosted weekly, this particular session as well. We'll go ahead and wrap it up now since we don't have any questions in the IMs. And Brianna, any last words that you would like to say?
Nope.
Perfect. All right, so we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you guys for joining and asking us questions, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you all so much. Bye.